Now, when it comes to the dry conditions around the country, everybody's situations have been very individual and different. So has their feed supply. Now, we've talked a lot on Sarah's Country around this free feed planning advice the government has sunken money into. Critical of it or not, it has certainly been a lifesaver for many farmers and including lifestylers. Did you know that there's the same amount of lifestyle blocks there is farms in New Zealand? And of course, they need advice just as much. Very excited to have on the show from Central Hawke's Bay near Waipawa, Kate Luff. Welcome to Sarah's Country, Kate.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, give us just a bit of a background on your property and what sort of livestock you've been running there.
So we've got 10.2 hectares, 25 acres, and I've got a flock of breeding ewes. I run polled Dorsets, crossed with a Dorper ram, sorry. So we have some really interesting coloured lambs every year, a little bit of a patchwork situation. And most years I raise a few calves, so we have usually sort of 10 to 20 cattle, and of course a wee collection of ponies and horses.
And so for you, when that dry started to set in, do you sort of lean on some of the farming community for advice to lead you to the path of picking up the free advice feed lines?
Sort of a bit of both, to be honest. I'm really lucky in the sense that I've got some really good friends who are farmers, and so I get advice and talk to them all along. But when the situation started to look really grim and I realised that I didn't think I was going to have enough feed, but I wanted to be really sure, that's when I started asking some questions about the feed planning service and got directed towards the Beef and Lambs 0800 number, and I called that and had a great chat with Mark Harris, and it was very quick, it was very simple, and it gave me the information I needed to make some good decisions. And as a result, we sold most of our cattle, and I've now got plenty of baleage, which should last for the rest of winter.
So what sort of tools did Mark be able to give to you that you could calculate these things as opposed to guessing?
So what we did, we went through it on the phone initially. He filled it in at his end, so he just uses a spreadsheet. It's pretty standard. So we went through that, and he took the numbers from me and he talked me through it, and then he said, look, I'll send it to you and then you can play with it. So you can adjust your livestock numbers, and that will enable you to see what you'll be able to carry through. So he emailed it to me that night, and I did my little fiddling around with it and got to a point where it looked like it was going to work.
I find it really interesting because measuring of feed is something new to me, as well as new to a lot of farmers as well, believe it or not, Kate. Was it quite the exercise to be able to learn how to measure feed?
I mean, I've always, I suppose, been mindful of having enough feed in front of us, but this year has just been extraordinary. So we cut our own baleage here, and most years we use less than half of what's cut, and the rest goes off the property. And this year by May, we had already used that amount that we would normally use in a whole year. So I knew we weren't going to have enough in front of us, and it was enough to sort of prompt me to get more information and to use the tools available.
Certainly. So in regards to your advice to other people that are sitting there trying to navigate this themselves, how do you believe that people can get amongst going into the spring?
Oh, I think if you're not sure, then reach out and ask for help. And there's so much good information available. I've been telling people to go on to the Drought Hub, which is on Hawke's Bay Regional Council's website. There's loads of information available there. You don't have to call any 0800 numbers. There's lots of information sheets and stuff for people to just do their own reading and their own research. But whether you've got 2 ponies on rented grazing, leased grazing, whether you've got a 20 hectare property, you need to be sure that you've got enough feed in front of you to look after those animals and ensure that they're properly looked after. And it's not going to work if people are just sort of going from, oh, well, grab 10 bales of hay here and find another 10 bales of hay over here. You've really got to have a plan.
And we don't know how much longer this will continue for as well. So thank you so much, Kate Luff from Central Hawke's Bay near Waipawa, for taking the time to join us. Now, Kate has been the recipient of the wonderful Mark Harris from Beef and Lamb and the free feed service that Beef and Lamb is, of course, Dairy NZ offering. If you want to take up some of this advice, the 0800 numbers Beef and Lamb and 0800 for Dairy NZ, but also check out the feed notice board on Agri HQ. There's also a page there where you can register if you've got feed to donate as well. So make sure if you don't get yourself into a pickle, there is people there to help avoid that shutdown from overwhelm when everything seems to be getting on top of you. Sometimes it's simply adding in some numbers into the columns of a spreadsheet and working it out.
This is Sarah's Country.